We didn't really challenge any forms during our film, but what we did do was use the blue effect during the night, which sort of gave an impression of it being dark, yet still allowed viewers to see what was going on during.
Within our film, we have an organised group of villains who you don't see until the very end and are hidden. And this is in contrast to the innocent victim, the girl, and this pretty much just doesn't challenge any conventions of real media.
We also use ominous music throughout the scene, which has high strings, which creates tension and makes the audience uneasy. The tension is also created through the use of a mask to hide the identity of the villains, and the fact that the identity is only revealed right at the end also builds up tension, and which conforms to the conventions of the thriller genre.
There is no representation of social groups through dialogue, as we mainly use shots and camera angles to do so.
However, there is a young woman which is representative of the female social group, and this is throughout many horror films, and the young woman is a stereotypically the victim of the serial killer or the evil people, whatever.
Yeah. Also, she's presented as innocent through the white walls and white bed sheets in the room, and also the dress that's hung up in the wardrobe denotes her age. As our film's independent, it wouldn't really be shown in mainstream cinemas, just such as Odeon or View. So we'd probably have to release it through more independent means.
It would be distributed in cinemas which show independent films. The Curzon cinemas in London, of which there are 7, show these sorts of films, and that's where we release our film. Yeah.
We can also show our film at certain film festivals, such as Sundance and Cannes Festival. We could also release it more internationally through Curzon cinemas, such as the Euro Film Board.
Well, generally 15 to maybe 40-year-olds, probably male.
Well, we think we pitched our film at about 15, and we think we've sort of achieved that because, well, we've got.
Well, in terms of threat, it's menacing, but we don't feel there's any need for any sadistic violence or sexual violence.
According to the BBFC, the threat should also not be too sadistic or sexual, which would make it N18.
Also, in terms of gore, we've got blood on the girl's face, but it's not actually that bad, so it wouldn't really be classified as an 18.
Yeah, it's not like we're looking at a 7-header or something like that, so
yeah.
Not too bad. Our film follows many of the conventions of the genre, and this would attract the audience as it makes them feel comfortable, because it's what they know, and it would also flatter the audience because there'd be twists, so that they'd be thinking that they have to be intelligent enough to get the twists.
Once we've attracted the audience into the cinema, we've got quite a lot of hooks and enigma codes in our film. Like, we've got big build-up of tension in the opening sequence. We've got the enigma codes like with masked people want to know who they are, and with the girl that's dead, people want to know why she's dead.
And like why they're in her dream, why are they in her cupboard, wardrobe even, stuff like that.
Yeah, and in terms of the originality of the film, and to try and make people come and see it, we're hoping that they will be hooked from the 2-minute introduction, that they would just be intrigued and want to see it, and just generally be interested in the film.
Also, with like trailers and film posters, hopefully these enigmas will carry on to those.
Yes.
I had to learn to use GarageBand because I was making the music for our film, which didn't take is quite simple, so it didn't take too long to learn. But other than that, I just had to use iMovie quickly to put together my preliminary film.
We had to use iMovie to edit the film, of which we had very little experience with prior to the beginning of our AS level. iMovie proved to have many limitations, including the lack of text editing tools, and the actual splicing together of clips was not very precise.
I learnt about the techniques used to actually film our preliminary main coursework film. This included the use of a dolly to shoot crab shots and tripods to make the camera shot steady rather than using handheld and zooming in, because that didn't look very professional. And we also had to make do with what we had. So for one of the shots, when we had to zoom in on the girl lying on the floor dead, we had to use a dolly, just moving it forward rather than any other equipment that we might have had. Our media department has now got new solid state memory cameras, and they cut out the noise of the whirring tape. They've also got a built-in gyroscope which helps steady shots, which the previous cameras didn't. Well, I have learned about the necessity of using the right equipment and the right amount of footage to get the overall feel that you want. Because using not enough footage means that you don't have enough, you don't really have much of a selection to choose from. So you could end up with a really bad film. I also didn't use a tripod or any stabilising equipment, which made lots of the shots quite wobbly and a little bit dodgy, some of them, especially my opening shot where it panned down and it was incredibly wobbly, so I had to slow it down, which just made it look worse. And another thing I found that I needed to improve on was the general continuity, because a lot of the shots didn't fit very well together, like where Tom walks down the stairs and the camera inexplicably jumps backwards, which looks incredibly out of place.
I reckon we all realised from our preliminary films that we didn't want much dialogue in them, considering just how badly the acting was in our preliminaries, so we focused more on the effects of the camera shots and angles. I also had a very shaky camera in my preliminary film, so using a tripod to steady the shots helped a lot. I also learned about proper lighting, as in my preliminary there was a continuity error where the lighting changed.
In music in my film, at one point I found that it didn't really suit it that much. So with the main projects, decided to make my own music, so it could be exactly what I wanted it to be, and so it fitted perfectly with our film.